guys, today I would like to bring you the beginner's Bosstiary guide, and this is mostly going to be for people who are new to the game or returning players or players who just haven't bothered with the Bosstiary and don't really know where to start. So if you don't know which bosses you should do for Bosstiary, this video and this feature I'm just about to talk about is going to be for you. So on tibiapal.com/Bosstiary, I have developed a new tool. New reference together with some of my viewers, some of my Discord members, some feedback from them, and basically we would like to show you what bosses are worth doing and what bosses people commonly do, so that you can get your first few thousand points, so that you can get your significant Bosstiary bonuses, equipment bonuses. So yeah, this is what this video is going to be about. So if you're interested, make sure to check out the tool first of all. And I'm just going to spend the next few minutes of the video just sort of looking into each of the sections and telling you a little bit more about what its intention is. So if you just like to check out the tool, make sure to just go on tibiapal.com/Bosstiary. So now this is going to be split into 5 sections. We first have bosses which you can kill solo, recommended before level 400. So these are some really easy bosses. This is probably the category that you should look into first when you're going to be starting Bosstiary. And this contains bosses such as Baby Bloodbath, which randomly spawns every day in one of 3 locations when the Warpath mini-world change is active. Then you've got Raxias, which can be reached by shipwrecking from Port Hope. So if you go to Port Hope and say hi shortcut, you can take a shortcut and you have a chance to shipwreck on one of a few islands, and one of them contains this boss. So basically just recommended to do this every single day until you unlock 5 kills of Raxias. I would expect it's going to take you a couple of months of doing this until you unlock him, but it's very easy. Doesn't take very long, definitely worth doing the 100 points. Then the other bosses, we have the 5 bosses from Grimvale, from the Foxtail Amulet quest, super easy as well. Then we have 4 bosses from also the Grimvale quest, but this is the Werelion bosses, so the recommend level slightly higher there so that you can run through. You can also do Scarlet solo, Droom solo, Kusuma solo. Kusuma is the Maripor Asura boss, so you do this boss as part of the Timira questline as well. And then also we have the 3 Asuras, which are part of the Asura Palace quest. Also recommend doing those solo up to level 300. So this sums up the first 1700 points that I recommend. And basically this only those bosses will already unlock your second boss slot, but I'm sure you'll be doing a few more bosses as you're doing these as well. Taking a quick look at bosses for 400 plus, here we have Ahau, which is on Adventures of Galfan. Then we've got the Savvy bosses, Ameneth, Sister, Hetai, and Neferi the Spy. We also have Broku. This one, by the way, is kind of, I've put it in solo because I know it's soloable, but perhaps more commonly it's killed as, a duo or a trio perhaps. So you can try it, see if you can solo it, see if it's nice and simple. If not, then perhaps find a team. We also have the Feaster of Souls, flimsy solo. You can definitely do it earlier than this, but to be safe, to run the way, I recommend level 500 plus. And then we have 3 true Asura bosses, which, they're not very difficult themselves, but the way there is pretty difficult. So I recommend actually around 650 before you start attempting this. If you're very aware of the place, you can go there earlier, but it's pretty risky, so be careful. Now, common team bosses, I have 49 of those here, so I'm not going to talk for every single one. These are just some of the more common bosses that I recommend doing and I think are worth doing because enough people do them. It doesn't include all bosses, obviously. For example, Cults of Tibia is not included here, but that's one that I see people doing sometimes, but not very commonly. The only cult one that we have here is Ravenous Hunger, which is the only one that's very commonly done. So these are the ones that you can consider joining when people are looking for on advertising. You've got the recommended level to know if you can do this boss. So a lot of those around level 400, like Grave Danger, Feast of Souls recommended. Yeah, the mini arena. So those ones, by the way, Dream Court Quest. Those 7 bosses. It's actually 5 bosses, but one of them has 3 different forms, each which is a different entry in the Bosstiary. Those are only 5 kills each. But they only spawn once every 5 days, so you actually need, about 35 days worth to get them all. if you kill every single day, but it's super easy Bosstiary points as well. So I definitely recommend doing the Dream Courts quest and doing the mini arena bosses. Yeah, so that's that. What else do we have? Yeah, so here we have the final for Tice, so or the Forgotten Knowledge quest. Definitely worth doing. Same with World Devourer, which is the Gold's final boss, and Farumbras, Ascending Farumbras. I have him here somewhere. There he is. Those are also Nemesis bosses. In other words, they only require 5 kills. If you have a guild who does them, or there's a service or public golds and Pharaoh, definitely make sure to join those because it's super easy points. Now we have a couple of special categories at the end. We have a special event bosses. So these are bosses which are only completable during certain events. For example, we have the Halloween event, which is the mutated pumpkin. Super easy. It literally takes all of those require only 5 kills, by the way. So the mutated pumpkin, I believe, spawns every few hours, every 4 hours, I think, from the server save. So you just go in, kill it 5 times. It takes like 5 minutes each time. You get 100 points. So when Halloween is active, make sure to do it. Super easy. Same with the other ones. You've got the Perch Queens, super quick. King Chuck, super quick. First Dragon, also super easy, super quick. Basically, it's worthwhile to do all of those. Then you've got Devogorga. These 3, if you're a sort of lower level, or rather when you're high level and you can't access those during the actual Rise of Devogorga event, these are only, you can do those during the mini world change. We can do some of those tentacle pieces in order to access them. So definitely worth doing this. You can get about 300 points in like 20 minutes of work. Definitely look into that when the world change is active. And then you also have Devovorga event itself, and you can do those 3 bosses there. Just for reference, Devogorga herself can only be killed once a year on a server, so it will take you 5 years to complete this. But definitely when it's active, make sure to kill her. So, you will actually get it in 5 years. And finally here we have a section for raid bosses. So this is when there's a raid message coming, saying in server log, such and such raid is coming, and there is a boss at the end which you can get points for. Again, if you kill 5 of them, you get 100 points, so definitely worth doing those as well. So here we have Willy Wasp, Zomba, Kubalok, Pale Count. The Pale Count is a little bit difficult because he actually spawns immediately when the message appears, which means that oftentimes you might not have enough time to run there. So that one is a bit iffy, but if you can get there and do Pale Count, I do recommend it. Then we also have Zulaza and Chizoron during the Orc Raid on Zion in Zaoland. And we have the famous, Oshobal, Farumbras, Morgoroth, Gasparan, worth doing as well. You're probably not going to get any loot, but, you just tag them and you get a kill credit. I was thinking about adding Gasgaroth here as well, but I was thinking it might be a little bit too difficult a boss for returning and new players. But if you're interested in getting, more raid bosses, Gasgaroth, the one in Rashomon, is also worth doing here. I will just make one final note on this point. It's this section here. Basically, when killing raid bosses which have low health, so in this section, in my opinion, this is Willy Wasp, Zomba, and Kublok, those 3 bosses from this list, you should not be using your main attacks. You should not be using sudden death runes. You should not be using avalanches. You should not be using your distance. If you're a paladin, do not be using your bow or crossbow. If you're a knight, do not be using your auto attack, because you can one-shot them and kill them, and then basically nobody else gets the credit, and it's just incredibly rude and selfish, and you should just not do this. It's impolite, and it's considered very bad manners, so don't do that. So generally the practice is to tag the boss, which you can do either with a weak bomb or rune, so a poison bomb or a fire bomb. Just make sure that boss is not immune to that particular element. Throw the poison bomb at them when they spawn, or alternatively what we do on Olima is we get the wands and rods from the Tice Museum, which is plain mayhem rod and valuable carving wand. You can look into it if you don't know how to get those, and then you can just tag the monsters with a single attack as well. Super easy. And that's the polite way to do it. So that's the Bosstiary guide I have. This is the beginner's Bosstiary guide. If you didn't really know where to start, I hope you find this helpful. I definitely recommend focusing on all of those solo bosses in this first section. Those are all really easy. In 2 months you can get basically 1,700 points. Well, maybe not Baby Bloodbath. Baby Bloodbath will take a little bit longer because the mini world change is not always active. But nonetheless, you can get 1,600 points right here in about 2 months. Super easy, definitely worthwhile. Same here, those are all pretty easy, and over 1,100 points, and you know, at that point you're looking at 3,000 points without even starting any common team bosses or any of the special event bosses. Super easy, that's how I recommend doing it. And yeah, I hope you enjoy it. I'll definitely post the link to the tool in the description down below if you're interested. And if you have any comments, questions, if you disagree with some of the placements of the bosses, let me know. I'll be happy to potentially adjust them. And likewise, as new bosses, you know, are released by Tipsoft, I will also be adding them to this tool where I think they fit appropriately. So yeah, so that's what I have for you today, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you find it useful. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.